Ladies and gentlemen, in this video, I will be showing you one of the best chess games that I have played in quite some time. And that was a game against the very strong grandmaster some of you might know. His name is Robert Hess. He's also, in my opinion, one of the best chess commentators on the planet. This game was played at the Naroditsky Memorial Tournament, a tournament honoring the life and legacy of Danya, somebody who was very dear and important to all of us. It's a rapid tournament, then there's a blitz tournament and then a creator invitational I will be a part of, so I will be updating all of you on all of those games as we go. Now, I would like to jump in right away. I'll be showing you 7 games in this video. I'd like to jump in with this first game. In the first game and the second game, I played really fantastic chess. I was very happy with the way that I was playing. I played, I was sacrificing rooks all over the place, and I played with 99% precision, which is super nice. This first game opened with d4. I think these are FIDE rapid ratings. So, my opponent, who is 1925 FIDE rapid, must be a little stronger. I don't know what my opponent's actual FIDE classical is, but not a lot of people play FIDE rapid. My opponent played knight f6. I played the Trompowsky because we have to. d5, knight d2. And from the opening, this is what my opponent chose. Now, the funny thing about this is if I take this and they simply take back, I don't actually get the benefits of the Trompowsky, which is doubling the pawns. But if I play bishop f4, it's almost like I played a London, except my opponent went h6, knight d7, which cannot be good. e6, bishop d3, bishop d6, and I played knight f3. So the point is that this is one of these London lines where, the opponent could take on f4, but if they do that, I get very good control of the e5 square, and then I can play queen e2, and so on. My opponent castled, and actually after castles and this knight getting to e5, those of you that play the London, you know this. If white wins the battle for the e5 and e4 squares, it's a very, very bad sign for black. And white can very quickly generate a kingside attack without even having to castle. And so that's why my opponent here spent about 3 minutes and played queen e7. And the position's just bad, honestly. The position's just not very good for black. I had several options here. I thought for way too long. I could have made a waiting move. I could have went h4. I could have even went g4. I opted for h4 because I just kind of thought in some positions I can even bring my rook as an attacking piece. It's a very normal kingside attacking move. g4, g5 is next. My opponent went c5. Apparently I can already play g4, but I figured, c5, c3, it's very normal. And then they took, and he, played knight e8. And I thought here, I didn't have the evaluation bar. Shocking. I didn't have this on while the game was going on. And I thought, I'm got to go queen h5, and I must just be winning, right? My opponent can't re-enter the game. The bishops and the, are pointing, rook h3, rook g3. It's just a matter of time until I win, even g4, g5. So my opponent went f5. And during the game, I was thinking, g4 just looks like the game is over. Because if g4 pawn takes, I have queen g6 and it's mate. Even if I don't play queen g6, I just attack. If I play g4, queen f7, I trade the queen, I take, I play e6, it's winning. And I was like, wait a minute. If I play g4 and my opponent puts a knight on f6, is my queen trapped? And I thought about it for a while, and I was like, I'm up a knight. There's absolutely no way. And my opponent played knight f6. He sacrificed his knight, and then, he got a pawn, and then he got a second pawn. And I had realized I blundered. I miscalculated. I had miscalculated that the threat is not bishop d7, bishop e8 trapping my queen. It's actually rook f6 and g6. That's another threat. And so originally here I had intended knight f3, which would lose the game to rook f6 and queen h and g6. And my queen is trapped. And I sat there but I must be fine. And I found a very beautiful idea, which I was very proud of. I played rook g1. And then now g6 doesn't work because I would sack my rook, sacrifice it, right? And instead bishop d7 was played. And I did it anyway. I sacrificed the rook. I'm not yelling because I'm a little tired. Bishop e8 attacking my queen. And now, chef's kiss to my queen's trapped, but I sacrificed the rook again. Rook takes g7. And then I escape with my queen and I'm winning. I'm winning because I'm going to get dominant control of the e5 square, and then I'm going to long castle, and then I'm just going to play like knight f3, rook g1, and, you know, I have a bishop and a knight for a rook, which is a very good deal. My opponent played rook g6, and played a nice move here, bishop a4, preventing me from castling. I played bishop e5 to attack the queen, and also to play this move. And I kind of respect my opponent's fighting spirit. I thought c4 was kind of curious, but I really like how I set up here. I played bishop c2, I blocked on the dark squares, and then I played this amazing move, king to d2. I was just very happy to play such a move because my king is completely safe on the dark squares. And then I was also very happy with my little maneuver here. You know, I just kept improving my position. I played rook b1. Check this out. Rook b1, rook b6, rook b5. So I played b5, b6, c5. You know, I'm just squiggling with my rook. c6, so I played there. I made a little rook square, and then I went there, so I went b6, b5, c5, c6, b6, and then I went b7 and g7, and my opponent resigned because after king h8, I mean, the simplest is I would just win the rook, and that would end the game. This was a nice first game. You know, I managed to sacrifice my rook. That was very cool, how my rook just like bulldozed the entire g-file. And then I got my pairing for the next round, and I was playing Robert Hess. I got a lot of respect for Robert. I played Robert many, many years ago in a tournament where I clinched an IM norm. And, you know, I thought, well, we got to lock in. We got to not make a fool out of ourselves. I never expected I would beat Robert Hess with a 99% accuracy game. This is one of the proudest games that I've played. Now, granted, you know, it's a 10-minute rapid game, and Robert, I think, hasn't played over-the-board chess in a very long time. And was a minute and a half late to the game. I didn't even start his clock. They said start the clock, and I didn't, and then the referee came, and so he was like 2 minutes late to the game, but only lost a minute, and I said sorry. He played the English, and I played b6, bishop b7, which is one of many lines. He played knight f3, and I said, okay, like, you know, e6, bishop b4 is normal, but let's play knight f6. And I like this setup where I fianchetto two bishops. And here he played d4, and generally once white plays d4, c4, knight c3 in this structure, black can get away with knight e4. And this is a very important move. The point is that you trade the knight, and if the knight takes you, your bishop is actually very comfortable on that square. I think the top move of the computer here is h4 or bishop d2. Robert took, though, and I think he was just like kind of hesitating between playing complicated chess and simple chess. And I also quickly castled. And so this was our position from the opening. I had a very small time advantage. And I'd like to shine, a light on my thought process throughout this game. So he thought and played queen d2. Now, I'm kind of in a mode in chess where I assume if my opponent is a lot higher rated than me, they are playing more logical moves, right? Like, than I would be expecting. So I'm thinking, okay, Robert is trying to play queen f4. Makes sense. Now, I want to take, and I can put pressure on his center. I thought about d5, but I ended up going with knight c6. The idea is quite simple, to take and to take. If he plays d5, I was going to take and play knight e5, attacking his bishop and his pawn, and I thought I'm quickly equalizing. He played rook d1. And so, he played rook d1. I was like, okay, so if I take, knight d4, he's going to take my rook. It's probably not worth sacrificing that rook. And then he went d5. Right? So, sorry. Not he went d5. I went d5. Another idea is that he can play d5. I went d5. Because if he takes, I'm going to take with my queen, and he doesn't have a traditional knight on that square. So actually my, blockade in the center is very good. And instead he went queen e3. And when he went queen e3, I was like, well, I can't take, but can't I play knight b4, knight c2? And I trusted my gut, and I played knight b4 quite fast. I actually wanted to play knight a5, but I ended up going knight b4, and I thought, Robert has to play rook d2. The idea of rook d2 is after rook d2, knight c2 no longer works. Because after takes, he can take on d5, and it's really difficult for me to take this pawn with this diagonal open. It's equal, but I wasn't going to play knight c2 if he went rook d2. I was just going to play like e6. And actually, even if he plays a3, now knight c2 is a very different story because I get to take with the pawn. But, he spent some time and he ended up going knight e1. And I felt like, okay, hold on a minute. I'm up like double Robert's time. Aren't I just winning a pawn here with takes, and like d takes c4? I had a very similar game in an over-the-board classical tournament against Bach Ngo, Vietnamese-American kid, and I was winning in that game, but I lost. Story of my life. It's why I'll never be a grandmaster, but we will continue to lie to ourselves. And so, knight e1 was played, and I took and went dc4, very similar thing. And I just thought, like, wait a minute, I'm gonna go b5, queen d5. Like, I'm just up a pawn against Robert Hess. This is super chill. And he quickly went queen c3, which was a fork. But this is also a mistake. And he told me after the game what he had missed. He thought after queen c3, queen d5 check, he thought he could play e4. He thought he could do this. And then in this position, he thought that my queen was hanging and my knight was hanging. But I have queen e2 check. And it's an extremely weird configuration where somehow he's just like losing a rook. And if he cannot play e4 and has to go here, I'm just much better. Now, originally I thought, well, obviously I'm getting a little nervous, but I'm also, I'm trying to breathe and play the best moves. And so here I played c5 because I attack the middle. I pressure and defend my knight, and I want to go knight c6 and take this pawn. Like, this pin looks completely fatal. Robert played here, and I just thought, like, I can go queen e6. And originally in this position, I thought we were going to go for this position, d5. But d5 just loses. d5 loses because I can just take the queen and then take the knight, and there's a fork. So I thought Robert is going to have to play a3, knight c6, and then d5. And I was going to play bishop c3 here and like something. I mean, even this and something like king f7, like I thought I'm just going to be up a pawn. I can maybe play e5, knight d4, put a rook on the open file. I still thought I have work to do, but, maybe we're going to reach this type of an endgame. But still, I mean, this looks absolutely horrible for white, right? He's a pawn down and okay, but let's not forget who we're dealing with. I'm a pretty big idiot, so I might be able to lose the game anyway. So I was expecting a3, and then Robert went queen a3. And I thought, hold on a sec. If I put pressure, my original intention was to play f5, which looks very natural, forcing him to go e5 maybe. And then I thought, if I go rook d8 and he plays d5, I still have knight takes d5. Like, rook d8, d5, I can just take it. Because after rook takes, takes, I can take his knight at a minimum, and I can also play queen e2 check. And I just played this. I just sort of trusted myself. He has a minute to defend this position, and it's just over. Like, d5, knight d5, he made a mistake, but he's already in huge trouble here. If bishop e3, I was going to play cd, bishop d4, queen b4, and I don't know, I'm up a pawn with a huge attack. Attack is a bit of a strong word, huge pressure. But he went d5, and I thought, like, knight takes. I just thought I'm winning. Like, I'm just going to win this game. I'm up 2 pawns, bishop g5, and I countered. If he takes, I still have queen e2. And then right here, I accidentally played something completely genius. So in this position, I just thought f5. f5. He can't take my knight. Like, he still can't take my knight because I have queen e2. And when he runs, I hunt him down. If he goes back, I just checkmate him with my bishop and my queen. So I played f5, which is an accidental brilliancy because I missed something. I missed that he can take my knight, and if he goes here, I cannot go check. This was my original intention. He has knight g2. I completely forgot about this move. And I'm sitting there as he took my knight. I'm thinking, there's no way I'm actually going to throw this, right? Like, there's no way I just blundered this. And I regained my composure, and I found an absolutely amazing sequence. Queen e2, king h3, and I have enough time to play g5. And g5 is a major issue for white because even though he's defending just enough, g4 will force the king up here, and I figured if the king is on h4, I'm gonna win. I was a little worried about queen e3, but it doesn't even work because g4, and then the king just gets hunted into my position. And ultimately, that's what happened. He went queen e3, I went g4. King h4, he can't play because this is checkmate. So he goes takes, and now I have this with a check. And that's really, really bad for him because then I play check, rook takes d5, and rook g5 check, and he has to lose his queen, at which point I thought, like, okay, this is easy. And, queen e4, and then I'm going to just checkmate him somehow. He went here, I gave a check. And this is a very fun little way to wall in the king. Rook h8 is mate. And in this position, he resigned because, well, he could have played a move, but, rook h8 is literally unstoppable checkmate. And I have to say, I understand this was not one of Robert's best games. I understand he was rusty, but as far as I'm concerned, for me, this was one of the most, dominant and impressive games that I've played from start to finish against an extremely good player in over-the-board chess. I've won online games against, Hikaru, Hans Niemann, Jan Nepomniachtchi, Alireza Firouzja, just to name a few. That was kind of my, my hit list. But no, I was so happy when I won this game, and I checked the, afterward. All of my instincts were correct. Like knight c6 was a good move. D5 was good. Knight b4, and then this whole sequence and everything. I mean, I was just so proud of myself. And Robert was a good sport. We talked a little bit after the game as well, and some grandmasters would have been a bit tilted to lose to me. And this felt super nice. In many ways, I felt like I honored my friend's my friend's playing style, who's not with us anymore. To win a game like this, but that's easy to say, and it's a little bit harder to keep it consistent. Now, the rest of the tournament was crazy. So, in the next round, I'm paired against Ruslan Ponomariov. Ponomariov is he was a world champion at 18 years old. And my goal before this game was like, just play a good game. Like, I already accomplished, I won against a really great player. Like, let's see what happens. And we had this Queen's Gambit declined with Bishop d6. He went Rook e8. And I have this really bad habit sometimes when I play really strong players. I almost play like I have a free roll, like it doesn't matter if I lose, and I lose a little bit of my risk assessment. Because, here, like, a normal person will just play d4, develop, and castle. And, like, of course, I'm not an idiot. I mean, I can just do that. And then, for whatever reason, I went g4 here, which works in a bullet game. Now, to be fair, if he took, it would have been a very different story. I would have actually gotten, a very comfortable position. But he shrugged back in the center immediately. And originally here, I thought, take, knight takes d4, and if he takes on g4, like, we have ourselves a very interesting position. And then we got here to e takes, c takes, and for reasons I can't fully comprehend, by the way, look at the time, I already have 5 minutes. I spent half my time in the first 9 moves. For reasons I can't fully comprehend, I didn't take this pawn. Like, in my mind, I remember telling myself, hey, if he gets e5, this is going to be bad for us because my bishop is walled out. Like, even though I don't exactly see what to do after knight takes d4, I should probably still play knight takes d4. Concretely, what I missed is after knight d4, knight g4, I thought in this position, Ruslan can play knight takes f2. And it does look very problematic because if king f2, queen h4. But the amazing thing about this move is I can just go here. Honestly, if knight takes d4, I don't think Ruslan would have taken on g4. He probably would have went e5 or something. I don't know. I didn't have a chance to talk to him after the game. But I didn't play knight takes d4 here, and I mean, I just got absolutely destroyed. Like, I mean, like, it's just losing immediately from the opening. And I lost this game. I don't curse in my YouTube recaps. I lost like a word that starts with B and ends in ITCH. Like, I lost this game like a complete clown. I felt so stupid playing this game. I was, like, embarrassed, really. Like, I'm embarrassed he even had to waste, like, 7 minutes, 10 minutes of his life playing me. This was catastrophic. Like, this was just... Yeah, it's instructive how he played and everything, but I mean, I could have just played knight d4. Like, we would have had an interesting game maybe if I played knight d4, knight d4, e5, I don't know, knight f5, he would go here, I don't know. But, I don't know why I didn't, by the way, I changed my opening, I could have played like Trumpowski, I don't know, I lost, like a complete idiot. Next game, I'm playing Andrew Hung, who I played many years ago, I played him like 10 years ago. And we played knight f3 in this game, it was already... I played e6. I can also play e5 right away. Doesn't really matter. He hit me with this variation, which is very popular nowadays, to play d3 and c4. And I don't remember anything about this line. There are some ways for black to equalize. I went c6. He went queen b3. He kept looking at the sky, which is a bad sign. It's always bad when your opponents are staring out into nothing because they're remembering what it said on their computer. I went here, queen c2. This game I was determined to play fast and not stupidly. He played b3. I played castles. He played bishop b2. And I played a5, which I thought was a very normal move, and then a4 maybe. And I thought, like, okay, from the opening, I mean, I feel like I've equalized. Here I spent a bit of time because I kind of felt like he's going to bring his rooks. He's going to play h3. He's going to try to play for e4. And I thought, like, okay, I can kind of see what he's threatening. He's actually kind of, in some lines, threatening, like, to take this. Because, you know, if I take, like, he can take on f6, which is a bit ridiculous. And if I take, maybe he can take my knight. I take his rook, he takes. This, I don't know. But anyway. So I played knight fd7 because I wanted to trade the bishop. So this is what I was going for. He went a3. I played bishop f6, and he went b4. Apparently, I should have went knight a6. Or I should have went b5 immediately. And what I did over the next 4 or 5 moves is I transformed the position, but I transformed it poorly. And Andrew just played an amazing game. So I played bishop f6. He played b4, and now I thought I can take and go back and attack the pawn. I can go back and then maybe, like, sacrifice this pawn. Like, for example, bishop f6, queen f6, ba something, and try to win the pawn back. Or I was like, I can take, put my knight on a4, and play b5. And I thought, it's a nice sequential series of moves. It's just bad. Taking this and then playing knight a4, that's not where the knight belongs. And then in this position, I should actually bring it back. This is just bad. Because after knight d4, I'm in some trouble. And then he plays c5, and all of a sudden, you know, what I thought was actually kind of a balanced game is not balanced. He quickly pushes my bishop back. I have to strike back in the middle, but honestly, it doesn't even matter. Like, my knight is actually just never returning. It's never coming back to the game. It's amazing. He plays knight b3. I play here. You know, I play rook e8, and he just kind of slowly improves his position. I also thought I was slowly improving my position. But he's ready to play knight e3 and put something on f5. He did a very nice job also putting clock pressure on me. I was just sort of moving back and forth. I, like, completely couldn't figure out what to do. And then here I just completely, you know, I went for something that looked very cool. Knight c4, you know. You know, then, knight, you know, I played knight c4. He took, and I took. And I thought, it's not so clear. I have some pressure, I have this, but everything is nicely protected. I played rook e4, but this is the problem when you try to attack knights. They just defend each other. Like, I'm down a knight. Like, everything in his position is holding together. I played c3, but he defended really well, and I mean, and then you know, he had to do it back to me. He sacrifices his rook, which is pretty gangster. And then he goes check. He calculated this very well. But just like a super, you know, just like a grandmaster would, he doesn't play mate in 1 and instead plays queen f7 check. And I resigned because, you know, I have this, and then he's going to win my queen. But I was like, and then, you know, he played queen f7, I resigned, and then he like looked at the board and was like, and then he played, and I was like, yeah, it's just, when you have mate in 1, look for better. So I lost 2 games. I lost 2 games to good players. This game, you know, it was all right. It was a 10-minute game. I made 1 inaccuracy. I didn't play like a complete idiot. And this was one of the worst games I've ever played. Truly. To be quite honest, I was a little tilted from losing 2, but I was also, I mean, I was kind of happy, like, the way I played in the second game. My opponent, though, you know, d4, d5, I played c4, and my opponent did the Tal. There's a very famous clip of Bobby Fischer is playing Mikhail Tal, and Tal plays the Caro-Kann, but he doesn't let go of the pawn, and then he pushes it to c5. And my opponent did that, which I have to tell you, maybe I'm, like, hangry, but I was like, you're not, Tal. Like, it was just like, I was like, you're not, like, why would, I didn't even, like, get what was going on at first, because, you know, he did this, and then I was like, oh, so anyway, he played the symmetrical variation of the Queen's Gambit, which, I mean, you know, Hikaru played this a bunch in the candidates, and I know the best line here is something like CD5, and something, and I just like, I was like, all right, I'm just gonna improvise, and I improvised, and I knew my position was a little bit worse, and I couldn't fathom how bad it was. So he played knight e4, and we traded, and I just thought like, okay, I played bishop b2. I mean, I just didn't want to trade all the pieces, so I went bishop d3, and he played here, and I sat there, and I was like, I'm lost. Like, I'm losing. Because I cannot prevent e5 and then e4. I cannot stop him from playing these two moves, which is crazy. And then I'm gonna just like lose with some knight e2 and you know, and taking the rook in the corner. And I'm sitting there like, am I really gonna lose 3 games in a row now to also a lower rated player? I mean, I don't actually know his rating, but I think it's like 2100, 2200. FIDE. And I spent a bunch of time here because I just thought, like, I cannot stop e5, e4. I mean, I can threaten mate. He just plays g6. So instead of putting my queen on f3, I needed to put it somewhere that wasn't completely stupid. And I ended up finding this, and this, which is a way to survive. Here I could have maybe played bishop e4, which is crazy to physically prevent him from putting a pawn on e4. Instead, I did this, and I just went down an exchange. But he only had 18 seconds. And so he went here, which is just a very bad move. It just loses a pawn. There was no need for that. But he definitely was a bit startled by the fact that, like, oh my god, I'm winning, now I have to play something smart, and he didn't play something smart. And for the rest of this game, I completely stopped seeing good moves. Like, rook b1, I wasn't sure. And then I played bishop b2. And then I played a3, and I mean, I'm better. Like, I knew I was better. I knew he was never checkmating me, and I just have 2 passed pawns. So just like, play queen d4, rook a1, I don't know, push the pawns. But guys, I'm getting old. Like, I don't have a nervous system anymore in time trouble at all. You know, my opponent was like playing moves, and sometimes now I even get distracted at the board. If you've never played an over-the-board chess tournament, you really don't quite understand what it's like to be in a time scramble. Like, even here, to not play rook d1, just putting pressure is crazy. I mean, I couldn't see the board anymore. I played here, which is like fine. He went here. I didn't lose my pawn, but I allowed him to activate his rook. And, you know, here I'm just winning if I play b5. And, like, my pawn is making it to the end. He can't get in front. There is no threat. Like, b5, h4, b6, h3. He's not threatening anything. Just b7. But I'm like, h5, I have to play h4. I finally understand how these grandmasters feel, like Magnus losing these games in time scrambles. You know, he just like goes here, I go here, and I just lose. I just lose the game on the spot. I mean, like, this is just lost. There's no, like, I don't know why I traded my rook. I saw that he was trying to play rook c2, at which point I wouldn't be able to defend myself. But, like, I can go here, even. I can play queen g3. I mean, I can even go here and lose the queen for the 2 rooks. Like, I did not have the nervous system for playing in a time scramble. I couldn't see anything. He went here, and just, I mean, right away, I'm like, oh my god, I'm just lost. Queen g4, he's threatening queen e2. He's also threatening rook takes f1. King f1, queen d1, queen e1, bishop c4 check, and I resign. And I lost. I lost 3 games in a row. After this game, you know, I was very unhappy. Because to lose like this is just, I mean, it's just pathetic. Like, like, what are we even, you know, what are we doing? I wanted to drop out, but I was like, I mean, that wouldn't, you know, I just couldn't, completely couldn't see anything anymore. And it only gets worse, you know. God really sends you his the toughest tests of your life when you are not ready for them. In this game, I was playing, I was playing somebody who was maybe my age, rated like 2000 FIDE, and I thought, okay, like, we're gonna play a Scandinavian. Yo, my guy was prepared with all engine line, bishop d2, knight e5 combination, and I played c6 really quickly because I mixed up my lines. So there's the line here, knight e5, c6, queen f3, e6 without bishop d2. But with the inclusion of bishop d2 and this, I just like very quickly played c6, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm losing the game. I'm straight up dead lost. Because he just plays h4, and after queen b6, he can give me this pawn. He can play queen e2 and long castle, and I'm losing. If I take long castle, not king d1, long castle. I was like, but luckily he went bishop c1, which is not the best move, but it defends 2 pawns at the same time, and that allowed me just enough time to, you know, kind of contort my way out of a terrible position and maybe play f5. And I'm down 4 minutes to 9 in a 10-minute game. So yeah, clearly tilted, you know, after that strong start. And in this game, what you're about to witness is truly something incredible. Here, instead of playing the completely normal king c7, getting out of the line of the bishop, you know, just defending, I played b5. But again, I thought, like, really, anything I do in this game, I'm going to win. He went queen c2, and queen c2 is a massive blunder that doesn't even do anything to white's position. He completely missed that the rook is just hanging. Like, he was preparing bishop g2, and he completely missed that anywhere I move the knight, anywhere, the rook is hanging, which is a massive advantage for me. That doesn't matter at all. If I played knight takes c3, he plays rook g1, and I'm dead lost. If I play knight takes f2, he takes with the king, and the rook is protecting the rook, which is like, how lucky can you be? You know? So I spent 3 minutes and we just went here. I have 34 seconds on the clock. But this is crazy, right? Like, to play like this, just a full tilt. And then I made a comeback, you know? Here, maybe instead of taking the pawn, you know, I should play bishop f4, which looks nice, and then we trade and everything. And probably bishop f4 followed by pawn to h6 was the way to go. Just disallow counterplay. I ended up, you know, taking the bishop and taking a free pawn because mentally I was not there anymore. And he, you know, began putting pressure. I was defending myself. Even here, I was thinking to play queen d5 and after queen h7 to, like, calculate something, but I couldn't calculate anything because a5, rook g7. As it turns out, takes, bishop e7, black is actually playing for a win, which, to be honest, even with time on the clock, I'm not so sure you can properly evaluate this, but yeah, I just traded queens and played a5, and I thought, like, okay, I mean, he's lower rated than me. I'll win an endgame. And then he started making some inaccuracies, and I began kind of trying to win the game. He went here, I went rook f6, and he went rook g4, and maybe somewhere here I could have played a little bit more accurately. But I just couldn't anymore. I couldn't handle the stress. And I rushed. I played b4, which is probably not the best. It was one of these positions, you know, I need to tag in Magnus. You know, I gotta, like, trade a pawn and very slowly make progress. But ultimately, I traded a little too quickly. And I thought I would maybe trick him in this rook endgame. And to be honest with you, I thought I got close. Like, I thought right here I actually got close, but this is just a draw. It's always a draw. I thought I would have enough time maybe to get my pawn down there, but I never had any time. There was maybe one moment here I could have went, no, instead of this, I could have went e4 here, f4. e5 and something like king g4, but he's just too fast. He's too fast. King g3, e7, and even if I get all of this, like, ultimately, he's queening. So it was a very, very good game by him. He made one mistake, but it's, like, not even a mistake. I mean, I couldn't even capitalize, which, yeah, people are 300 points lower, but they're really not bad. Like, it's crazy. You know, God gives and takes. I beat somebody 26-20. I lose to some players as well. I don't have the best games. And in the last round, I played a guy who might be like 20, I guess, local in Charlotte. I went back to the drawing board, and, you know, he was playing so fast. You're going to look at the time. I did my usual stonewall structure. I played queen f3, but he, h5 was kind of a cool move. And if I played g6, he goes f5. So I really had to work here. Like, I spent so much time because I wanted to move my knight out. I couldn't decide, do I move my queen here, 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 here? I ultimately did this. Look at the time. 6 minutes down in a 10-minute game. I'm old, guys. I'm old. Really, I gotta tell you. But I played pretty well in this game, despite feeling like I was playing with no confidence. I played knight h4. That prevents the f-pawn from moving. He went here. I brought my other knight so I could play knight e5. He went rook e8. He was trying to prepare some sort of central breaks. But ultimately, you know, I was waiting and coordinating. And if he went g6, he would never play f6. So at that point, I would probably just like long castle, king b1, and, you know, slowly put the grind on. So he really didn't want to go g6. He ended up going for f6 at this point. And it actually just loses because after rook f7, I can play rook f1, which I don't know if I saw in the game. But he blundered right away. He just went here. And now I win because I take on f6, and he can't take back. He missed that I have knight e7 check, which is really brutal because it's not just that he loses a rook for a knight. He loses everything because he can't protect the back rank. So that sucks, you know. G takes f6 is just a game-ending blunder. He sacked his knight. I took. I castled. You know, clean. Took a pawn. Attacked his rook, threatened a queen trade, threatened to trade some pieces here, and, you know, we end the game in style. He was a good sport. He played till checkmate. I attacked his queen. I took, and then, you know, we got to hit him with one of these, and then it's made in the corner. But he had 6 minutes at the end, and I had 50 seconds. So I ended the tournament with 3.5 points. I gained maybe a tiny bit of FIDE, but actually I don't think so. I think once they count my loss in the 5th round, I probably won't. I won a really nice game. That game against Hess was great, but, you know, ran out of energy toward the end and was quite exhausted, I have to say, and a little bit tilted, but that was a nice game. You know, games like that remind me that it still works. The 5th game reminds me that nothing still works, you know? Anyway, I will have more coverage for you, and I will also have an update for you as the FIDE Ethics Commission actually issued a decision at long last. I'm a bit tired right now, but after the tournament is over, we'll wrap with some thoughts both on Danya, you know, the tournament, etc. Hope you enjoyed the video, and get out of here.